Hey everyone, so today we're going to be building, inserting heat press inserts, and doing general assembly of the drill press that I designed. The first part that we're going to be focusing on today is going to be inserting the heat press inserts or heat set inserts. There are a few M3, while the majority are going to be M4. Here we've got the pinion, which takes 5 different M3 inserts. I've tried to keep it all consistent, aka 6 millimeters long throughout the entire build. So if you saw it there, I took a piece of wood and I was pressing down. I find that by taking a flat, solid object and holding it down while the inserts are still hot, it helps to create a consistent, flat top across the entire surface, which is exactly what you want when working with something like a drill press or any kind of mechanical object that you want to have consistent flatness throughout. So there you go. That's one pinion with all the inserts placed in. Next, we're just going to move right along and pretend that we've gone through and put the heat set inserts for the base as well as the left and right body pieces. And now we're going to work to set up the gear housing and the different pinions. The pinion's been separated into both left and right, so put them together and place them into one of the housings. Put in the body alignment and press down with the other side. If you notice that the pinion doesn't spin properly, try giving it a light sanding around the pinion edges and or around the openings on the body that the pinion sits in. Next, we're going to work on installing the side doors, which is latched in place using a spring mechanism. All you really need is a spring from a regular spring pen. If you're willing to sacrifice a pen, then you're good to go. Otherwise, source it separately. But really, the spring from the pen is all you need. As you can see here, I've put the spring inside the door, I've put the pin on top of the spring, I've pushed it in, and then I've placed all 3 components, the pin, the spring, and the door, until it clicks into place. Next, we're going to work on assembling the entire body. Here you can use linear metal rods. Take the assembled top portion of the body and push it into the base. There you go. Nice. It's already taking shape. Now take the mounting plate, or at least that's what I call it. We're going to take that mounting plate and we're going to slide it into the base. If you find that it's tough to push in, I would definitely suggest taking a soft tip mallet and giving it a couple taps. The next step that we're going to do is to secure all these pieces together. I've used M4 by 45 millimeter cap screws. Again, all quantities and lengths and sizes are all detailed in the manuals. And now we're just going to secure each piece with hex nuts. No need to watch me do this in real time, so let's speed up this process and get through it as fast as possible. The only reason why I'm not cutting these is because I don't want there to be any confusion about if I did something that you don't know about, or if anyone has a question and they need to go back and view. So here we go. It's all set up, all secured, and let's give it a good little 360. Look at those, all secure, right? Real nice. Real nice. So next I'm going to give you an example of how I assemble one of my tool mounts. This one here in particular is the Hoto rotary tool. This one is split into two pieces. So there's a back component that has the linear bearings inside, which are inserted during the print, and the front. We're going to take some M4 hex bolts and we're going to push them through the back so that they slide through the front. Next, we're going to secure them. I've placed M4 hex nuts into these 3D printed thumb knobs, so that way they secure down and provide an adequate securing force. We're going to take our rack. I've designed it so that there's multiple holes along the rack itself. So if you have a long tool, put it up higher. If you have a tool that needs more reach, set it close to the bottom. And once again, we're going to go back to the M4 system of locking things in place. I believe these are M4 by 16 or M4 by 14 cat screws on one end and then hex nuts on the other side. So let's go ahead and screw these in. So let's go ahead and tighten them up, give them one last tighten, and there you go. You have one assembled tool mount. Next, we're going to be putting our springs on and securing the top. I've designed these 3D printable springs, and they are quite springy, in fact, and strong as well due to the orientation that they're printed in. I've been testing these out for over a month now, and they work wonderfully. So go ahead and place your tool mount on top. We're going to take the two pins for the top and place them in. 1, 2. Nice. There you go. As you can see at the top surface, that's where they are. We're going to take our top and slide it over so that the tops of the linear rods slide in, and there you go. We're going to take all of our M4 angle screws. I wanted to give a flat surface, and I find that the countersunk screws have a much nicer look to them. So let's get them all in there, and then let's get them tightened up. And then we're going to complete the mechanism. I have this hex rod here that I've designed. It's threaded. So we're going to take a 1/4 threaded rod, cut to length, and we're going to start threading it through. If you have any issues doing this, I suggest cutting a notch at the end, so that when it gets too tight to turn by hand, you can use a screwdriver to do the rest. As you can see, that's exactly what I've done here. And there you go. Now it's in, it's flat on both sides, and that's just to give it some added strength, as you can see. We're going to take our wheel lock and place it onto that hex rod. Take your wheel and put it through. Take the wheel aligning piece and place it through. This might take a few tries until you get it to lock in the correct location. So there you go. We've got the 3 pieces on the hex rod, and now we're going to feed through an M6 bolt. What are we going to do with that, you think? Well, we're going to put a washer on it, and then we're going to put the handle on it. In order to properly secure the handle, I've designed this 3D printed screwdriver. Just turn until it locks in place. And then we're going to double secure it using a second M6 hex nut. If you ever find that the handle is becoming loose, I would definitely suggest a little bit of thread lock and or adding an extra washer on the inside of the handle and then placing the 2 hex nuts. So now that we have all those assembled, we're going to feed this through the internal pinion system. Here you see it's coming out the other end, and now that it's all in place, you can see that I can actually start to raise and lower the tool. If you just saw those screws there, those are M3 by 100mm cap screws. Let's put them in as far as we can, and then for the rest of it, let's just screw them in. And there you go. If we zoom in here, you can see the cap screws there on the end of the pinion system. And now we're going to start completing the body. Some of these are optional items, using M4 by 14mm cap screws to secure different objects in place. Here we've got a side storage. Next, we're going to start installing the gear cap, as I call it. It's got 4 holes, and we've got 4 heat set inserts in place. So let's go ahead, use that M4 by 14 cap screw, 4 of them in fact, to secure it in place. Nice work. Look at you go. We're almost done. Nice and secure. Lastly, for these optional yet somewhat mandatory parts, I've created different cable organizers. So if you created a mount for a corded tool, then feel free to run the cord through these different organizers. Again, not mandatory, but I just think that they're really cool. Cool enough to include. All done, looking good. So let's turn this around. And voila! The cable organizers are on the other side. So one of the last steps before we get into some more optional pieces, we're going to be mounting the drill press to a piece of wood. To do this, let's disassemble some of the pieces. They'll easily slide back in, but just for ease of access when drilling and screwing, it's easier just to have that mounting plate on its own. Slide out all the top pieces and carefully set it aside. As you can see, there are 6 holes. We're going to start by finding center on our piece here, which is roughly there. Take a square, square it up. It's not an exact science, but if you felt like whipping out 2 squares and going overboard like I did, be my guest. I like to be extra careful, and I take the hole puncher and I find center so that I don't go off center while I'm drilling. Five and 6. All right, we are ready to drill. Now that we have those initial holes, let's tidy it up. My niece got me this really cute little vacuum cleaner, and I've been using it religiously ever since. Next, we're going to open up the holes, enough so that they can fit an M6 wood screw insert. Take the Allen key that usually comes with these different sets, and let's tighten them up. Now that they're all secured, let's flip the piece of wood back to the top surface. And let's take our mount and let's put some angled screws in there. Let's whip out our square again, just to make sure that everything's lining up properly, and let's start tightening. Honestly, the square is my favorite tool in my arsenal, because the last thing I want is for something to be off-center. It really ruins the whole aesthetic look of things. So let's go ahead now, slide the top of the drill press back onto the mounting plate and re-secure it. There we go. 1, 2, and 3. Take our hex nuts and let's go wild. Let's get that side storage back on. Don't want to be missing that. And there you go. You've got a drill press that returns back to the surface once you've done drilling. Honestly, I just want to thank you all for sticking with me throughout this process. I know it's been a few months since the beginning of it, and up until now, it's all just been Instagram posts. But now that the product's been launched, I'm even more excited because I get to see what you come up with. I've included all the STLs and the step files that can be accessed through my Etsy, and I will continually be updating the files as time goes on. But either way, thank you, and I hope you all have a great day.